Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's May 21st. This will be our chart lesson for today. And it was a trend. We really started trending early in the overnight, yesterday or last night. And after the market opened, we continued to trend up. We kind of found resistance around 2130, 2131 area, and we just kind of ranged the rest of the day. And it's real obvious. It wasn't that obvious here. It looked like we were probably going to do a reversal at first, but then once we started swinging back and forth to both sides of the EMA, look how flat that is. It's pretty obvious then what's going on and that we've got a range today. So um, not a whole lot of trades today, but the ones that were here were pretty good. And so we'll back out just a little bit, talk about the trades, and we'll wrap it up for today. This won't take long today. It's pretty straightforward. You see the trend, the break, two legs up to a new high, then a little two-legged correction, and then we just kind of chopped around in that little range the rest of the day. We had a couple of failed breaks lower and one failed break higher, but it's after 2 o'clock there, so I didn't mark anything past the last setup I saw was just before the 2 o'clock hour was another short here. So, but let's talk about the trades. The first trade I saw, you could treat this like this was basically, notice that's just a little tight trading range or congestion area. Um, and that's like a breakout pullback long, but it's also, um, you could treat this double bottom like a new low and is like a swing down, pull back, and another swing down. So it's very similar to a failed second entry short. It's it's a bounce really. Early on, I thought the trend line was probably right there across that close, but I adjusted a little bit later. It fit better right there, and so it looked like a bounce right off the trend line as well. And it's a nice bullish bar. I would definitely probably, even though you didn't have to, I would definitely probably use a limit order here. That's such a big bar, and it's not a real strong setup, but it's good enough that you probably want to take it to the upside. And but I would consider using a limit order, trying to at least sneak in a tick or two back. You could have actually got in this one quite a bit further back, and it even came back again. And then you definitely get a bounce off the trend line here. And then this would be a failed second entry short because this is like a new low, pullback first entry, pullback second entry. Nice bullish bar right off the trend line, kind of confirms it. And quick, easy move. And then this one I circled in green. It's a two-legged pullback. You don't get a break higher on this chart, but if you went to a smaller chart, you would see a clear leg back, a move up, and then another leg back, and a second entry long right there. So if you're paying attention to that and you know this is another bounce off the trend line, no reason you can't take that trade. Again, you might use a limit order since it's not a perfect setup on this chart. And notice how it broke higher and came back. If you used the limit order and got in the first time, you probably got stopped out on any runners. But this is one you can add on to, or even if you're take another trade right here, because this is your second entry long after two more tries to go lower than this low that both hold, and of course the trend line is still holding. There's no close outside that trend line yet. So this turns out to be one of the better trades of the day. And there's actually a second entry long right here. I did not like this one. This is too flat. It is a double top right here. I think you need to wait on something a little better, wait on prices to come back to the trend line, maybe see if you get a breakout pullback long, and that's what happens. It breaks higher, pulls back, bounces right off the trend line. You are going long very close to the high of the day, but it's still early. It's only like 9:50. You might have used a limit order to try to sneak in a tick or two back. I probably wouldn't risk it on this one um, because it's coming off that trend line where most of your best setups are going to be. And it pulls back and touches it again, but the fact that we've tried to go higher once, twice, and then a third time, and we're not getting, and we're pulling back before we get up here to this high, that's telling you something. That's a tell that the market is kind of losing steam. So I didn't think it was, and notice there's one, two, three, four, and you really could count this one overlapping bars there, a couple of dojis. So this is not the greatest setup. I think this is too risky. Even though it would have worked, I just think it's too risky. I think you're better off to wait. And you actually get a second entry long. This is actually a long right here. Not red. You actually get a second entry long right here. I probably should mark this one in green, but if you draw your trend line, there's no break of it yet. And then it pulls back and it tries to go lower. And then you get a little second entry short right there. It fails and turns and goes out the upper side. This is the first break of this channel, so you're looking for a new high. So I liked going long just above this bar right here. I don't think you want to go long way up here above this one because you're so close to that high after a break. But if you went long right there, that's a great trade. And you got just enough to get out. It makes a new high. You can't take that first entry, but when it pulls back and it gives you that second entry short, you probably figure we're going to get a reversal here. At least that's what I'm thinking, or at least you're going to get a bigger correction. And it did turn out to be a pretty nice trade. It was a little bit concerning when it bounced there again because now you've got enough information running across there that you could say that, hey, maybe this is a trading range, or maybe this is strong support. But when it broke higher and turned down again, I definitely like entering right there. Now you got a failed second entry long. Look at the new high, pull back first entry, pull back, and it breaks higher and fails instantly and turns down. This is just like a breakout pullback short. Even though it didn't go lower there, it still acts the same. It's a failed second entry long. You're looking for prices to go lower. This turns out to be a pretty good trade too. And then it bounces right here. Because you did have all these matching lows, you figure prices are going to come back and test that trend line, test that EMA, or not trend line, but um, strong support area right there. And you got enough room to get out before it gets back. And this one just keeps going. So that turned out to be a really good trade. Then it pulls, but it turns down, pulls back, and then you get another little trap with a reversal bar right there. And this is a lower double top than this last double top. Big bearish bar. This is right at the 2 o'clock hour. Um, and you figure that, prices will probably try to test at least this line again, but it'll probably try to come down and test these lows, and that's what it does. It tries to test those lows and reverses. So this turned out to be a really good short too. And, it's pretty obvious at this point that we got a range because you're flipping back and forth. But it's after 2 o'clock now, so none of this other stuff matters. You could have traded this like a range. And somebody sent me I get this a lot. How do you trade ranges? Well, the best thing to do, especially on these tight ones, is only enter where you can get in on a little failed break lower or a little failed break higher, or bars that are very strong reversal type bars off the lows or off the highs. Otherwise, leave this stuff in the middle alone. Just kind of, stay away from it, because you can get, like going long there, you would have got trapped, and then it comes down, and if you didn't get a really good setup short here, you probably would have wanted to skip it too. And, so that's the key to ranges, is once you identify them, look for failed, most breakouts are going to fail in reverse, and those are easily, they're just gimmies almost. And then any bullish bars, like if it had been after 2, this would have been a good long most likely right here. It's a nice bullish reversal bar at the lows. And then this would have been a good short most likely. Definitely this second entry right here. And then another long right there. And if you just try to stick with that rule of only entering at the very lows or the very highs, and waiting on good signal bars, or small signal bars that are, strong bull bars if you're going long, or strong bearish bars if you're going short, you can't hardly go wrong. I personally like range days because they're so predictable, and they're much more predictable than even trend days. So on a really good range day, you can almost buy these lows and sell these highs blindly and do pretty good. So I'm not recommending you do that unless you're very, very experienced, but it can be done. So So yeah, not much more we can say about today. It's pretty straightforward. You got your trend working up, your break, your two little legs up to a new high. Then you had a little two-legged correction that kind of oversold here, and then we just kind of ended up in a range the rest of the day. And once we got up here, prices really slowed down. There's not a lot of bars today, so not a lot of volume today. Kind of a quiet day, to be honest. There really were a good number of trades for such a quiet day, because generally when you get this quiet a day, you're not going to have this many setups, not really good setups. So if you're paying attention, you can be done here before you really even get to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and you don't have to sit through all this stuff in the afternoon. So, but most of your best moving is generally going to be just after they open into about 9 or 10 o'clock, maybe 11 o'clock. And that's not written in stone or anything, but generally that's where your best moves come from, because all the energy is kind of pent up from the overnight, and you got that emotion. The market's a little more emotional and volatile at the open, and it usually continues for an hour or two and then kind of settles down. So I like to be done by noon and stay out of this afternoon stuff. So you get a lot more surprises and crazier things that happen in the afternoon, in my opinion. And it may just be personal with me. I've never, done any scientific studies on if the afternoon has more failed setups or tricks or traps or whatever. But just my general experience is um, the mornings are easier to trade. At least that's just my personal opinion. So, but I'm going to wrap it up. There's just not much else to talk about today. A pretty straightforward day. Um, we're continuing higher. It looks like we've stayed above. This is the longest. This is the first time we've really gotten up to these heights and not sold off below the 2100 area rather quickly. So maybe we're going to move forward from here and continue the long-term bull trend that we've been seeing in this market. And that would be great if we do. But regardless, all we want it to do is move. In the end, we don't really care whether it goes up or down. We just want it to move. And if it moves, we can make money. So going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back. Tomorrow's Friday. I probably will not do a YouTube video tomorrow. I'm kind of taking off for the summers and only doing Monday through Thursday. If it's raining or the weather's bad and I'm in the office, I'll do one on Fridays. But if the weather's nice, I'll probably take most of the Fridays off. As far as I'll probably trade till 10 or 11, maybe lunchtime, and then I'm out of here on taking a little more time during the summer. So just keep that in mind. But if the weather's good, we'll be back again to do it Monday. If it's raining tomorrow and I'm in the office, I may do one. So we'll just have to see. But I'm going to wrap it up for today. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.